Remind everybody, including myself, to silence your cell phone. It looks like we have a quorum. Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Senator Chambers Armstrong. Senator Berg. Senator Carpenter. Senator Elkins.
Present.
Senator Smith. Senator Storm.
Here.
Senator Wheeler. Senator Williams. Senator Wilson. Co-Chair Douglas.
Present.
Chairman Higdon.
Here. We do have a quorum and duly constituted to do business. Members, you'll find a copy of the minutes of the February 12th meeting are in your folder. If there's no edits or corrections, I entertain a motion for approval. I have a motion on the bill and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Any members have guests they'd like to introduce? All right, seeing none. First on the agenda, and the only thing on the agenda, Senate Bill 99, sponsored by Senator. Okay, misprint, 87. Sorry about that. Senator Fromeyer, if you'd like to come to the table and identify your guests for the record, or they can identify themselves. And I think you have several guests today, and we'd like to thank all of them for making the trip to Frankfort today. Senator, I understand you want to introduce yourself for the record.
Yes, thank you, Chairman Higdon, and thanks for hearing our Senate Bill 87 today. And I'm Senator Shelley Funky Fromeyer from District 24, Campbell, Pendleton, Bracken, the northeast corner of Kenton. And with me is President Stivers and Seth Cutter, representing CVG. We'll let them introduce themselves. We do have a committee sub, so Senate Bill 87 does have a committee sub.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion on the sub and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. The substitute is adopted. Please proceed.
Wonderful. And I'll offer a quick overview and then would like to pass on for a little more detail on the bill to Seth Cutter of CVG. But we do recognize the importance of efficiency. This bill is a little bit about efficiency as well, and we felt it's very important to address that. You'll also note that we have filed a task force that's also aviation and aeronautics centric. We, in fact, just filed that yesterday. We won't be talking about that today, but it does connect and tie into our efforts to become more efficient and, in fact, maybe even more of a leader in aviation. So at this point, I would like to hand it over to Seth Cutter to go into a little detail on the committee sub and what this bill will intend, and then we'll wrap it up with President Stivers to share, I think, some meaningful direction on our dominance of Kentucky's aviation and aeronautics and our desire to pursue some further education in that area.
Thank you, Senator Fromeyer. Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, thank you. I want to thank Senator Funky Fromeyer for her leadership on this bill. The bill is fairly straightforward, and we'll talk about the committee sub that you just adopted. But there are, in the first sections, provisions to do with procurement for Kentucky's three largest commercial airports. So currently, our airports, as many other agencies, are bound by the procurement and advertising rules. And as you all may know, we have many millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars in capital improvements at our facilities that need to be made over the next several years. So this bill, as Senator Funky Fromeyer mentioned, streamlines the procurement for Kentucky's largest airports by tying the acquisition threshold to the Federal Aviation Administration's simplified acquisition threshold, which is tied to inflation. So we won't have to keep coming back and asking for things of the General Assembly. Pardon?
No, motion on the bill.
Oh.
We have a motion on the bill. Mr. President, would you, before we vote on the bill, I want to give you an opportunity to say a few words.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. The portion of the bill, and I want to thank Senator Funky Fromeyer, when she brought this to me to talk about it, we knew of and we have continued to see manifestations of a problem of lack of educated workforce. Particularly, we saw this, and we do not know what caused the accident in Canada, but virtually every story you hear about anything about near misses or any type of multiple in the air or on the ground near misses or crashes that took place, like in Washington, is that there is a severe lack of air traffic controllers. And so the bottom part of this bill, the last few pages of the bill, instruct the Council on Post-Secondary Education to look at what we can do with our post-secondary institutions, including KCTCS, to increase the flow of people who would go into that possible employment status. Now, this is a little bit different in the sense that there is only one entity in the United States that you can finally get your certificate to be an air traffic controller, and that's more linked to the Transportation Cabinet, and it's in Oklahoma. So the instructions of the, I believe, subsection 9 of this bill on pages 9 and 10 are for the CPE and the Transportation Cabinet to tell us what path we need to take with our post-secondary institutions to get more students into that track. And in conjunction with transportation, is it worthwhile to attempt to get the final credentialing, since we have 3 airports and all in close proximity? Actually, Senator Funky Fromeyer and myself had this discussion, and then she went to Northern Kentucky University, and they said it may be better placed at Eastern because of their aviation program. Well, since there's no good suggestion, this is what CPE was envisioned to do when it was created back in 1997. So it instructs them to see, 1, how we do that, and 2, in conjunction with the Transportation Cabinet, if we could get a second site for final credentialing of air traffic controllers, which I think this is very apropos at this time.
Well, thank you, Mr. President, and thank you all for this vision. It's very forward thinking, and thank you for that. And Kentucky is very well positioned to approach this with our aviation programs at EKU and our 3 major airports. We're positioned well, so I thank you all for that vision. I do want to. We do have a motion on the bill, but before we vote on it, I do want to let you know about the fiscal note. It says the fiscal note is back, and it says no impact. That will probably change a little bit when we get the fiscal impact on the committee sub. This is just on the underlying bill. But again, thank you all. And do you have something else, Mr. President?
You know, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, and people who are looking, I've had these discussions with various employees over at CPE, and this is actually what CPE should be doing. I know they said, "Are you going to give us any additional money?" And I thought, no. These are the types of studies you all should be performing, and as the times change, the needs for our university change, and actually Senator Williams was here during that discussion. It is CPE who is to coordinate those changes on being nimble and flexible and ramping up programs and ramping down and coordinating this. So that is in their basic mission statement, or mission. I don't know if there is a statement. So I don't know what the fiscal impact would be other than what they are already tasked to do.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Like I said, we have a motion on the bill and a second. Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Senator Chambers Armstrong. Senator Byrd. Senator Carpenter. Senator Douglas.
I'd like to thank the president for offering some educational words to the people at CPE.
Senator Elkins.
Aye.
Senator Smith. Senator Storm.
Aye.
Senator Wheeler.
Aye.
Senator Williams.
Aye.
Senator Wilson. Chairman Higdon.
Aye. Senate Bill 87 is reported favorably with the expression of opinion that same shall pass with the committee substitute attached. Congratulations, Senator and Mr. President. Thank you all for being here. Any further business?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. We're